How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews, back with a little bit of Barleywine up in this piece. Wintertime outdoor review Barleywine time in the form of New Image Brewing. It is Wood Experimental Trial 1. This is genus Quercus alba style Barleywine. A hops Pilgrim Challenger, malt, care wheat Pilsner, Cara Munich, and chocolate rye. On the back here it says, our research has taken us farther than we thought possible. We wanted to test the impact of aging beer with fresh wood, and how many types of wood could there even be? The answer? Tons. Seriously, there are like a million types of wood. We thought we'd be exploring once, maybe twice, but we could go on forever. Forever. A little Sandlot call out there. And so, wood was born. We start by taking a barley wine, adding ever-changing fresh wood varieties from batch to batch, and finding new frontiers of flavor through our results. Is it dangerous? You're damn right it is. Are we up to the challenge? Even we're not sure. But we can rest your pretty head at ease. But you can rest your pretty head at ease knowing that we've sort of got a handle on it. 15.25% alcohol by volume. And what else do we have here? Ale brewed with natural flavors. How much wood would a woodchuck chug? Here's the thing. Okay, maybe this is where I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to wood. They talk about these kind of rotating wood. They talk genus Quercus alba. I am assuming that's the wood that they're kind of throwing in here. Now, they didn't talk about aging it in wood. They talked about aging it with wood. So I assume staves or something's going on here. And I assume that's the wood. I would hope that's wood. You would hope they would call it the actual wood if they're going to do a rotational wood thing. Done. You're talking about a 15% barley wine that was aged. They say it was at 10 months. Yeah. I don't know if they did. For some reason, 10 months is kind of popping in my head. I don't know why. Hopefully, they age at 10 months or more. But oh, buddy, boy, that's barley wine right there, son. Look at that. God damn. Okay, you get so many barley wines from so many different people nowadays that just are clear. Barley wine is not supposed to be clear. It's supposed to have this kind of funky doo-doo water haze to it. That has it going on. Label-wise, it's cool. Kind of reminds me of a HUD from like a Killzone or Call of Duty video game or whatever. Very much like Brickstone from out Chicago way. Very different styling, but kind of, I think I said the same thing about their labeling. But yeah, she's got a nice soft haze to her, that rich kind of brown caramel kind of mixture color. The head has kind of that, molten malt ball color to it, like it usually be right around there. Maybe even a little bit darker with my barley wines, but you're talking about me spilling beer everywhere in a wood barrel aged barley wine. We're off to a good start. Let's get a nose. I mean, it is just rich. Rich is the word. Rich. Rich kind of butterscotch candy, kind of caramel candy, just icky, sticky barley wine. I'm not getting much wood character from it, but I am getting a barley wine that feels like it has a little bit of age on it. It's not in that kind of like super age category. Like for me, English barley wine, which I believe this to be, when it gets some time on it, it ends up kind of morphing into like a sugar daddy thing, which this is like not there yet, but it's getting there. And then after that, after a couple more years, if it ages gracefully, it starts to become raisinets. That's like my perfect kind of path for a barley wine. This is kind of that caramel brown sugar kind of butterscotchy thing that is kind of a precursor to the sugar daddy, at least on the nose. And you're talking about a beer that was released, well, at least packaged, 2 months ago, a little over 2 months ago. That's not necessarily a bad thing. That's what pre-aging does for you, baby. Let's dive in. Cheers. Oh, sugary. That's sweet. That's very, very sweet. Wow. I did not expect that to be that sweet. Okay, well, there's a lot of impactful flavor here. Brown sugar is number one. I mean, it is all the brown sugar. All of it. All of the brown sugar is there. If there's a shortage on brown sugar and the prices go up, call New Image. It's their fault because they put it all in there. No, it's crazy sweet. And it comes off as just a caramelized brown sugar. It's kind of hard because there is bittering components to it. There is a wood characteristic to it. But really that sweetness is very, very huge. Yeah. I mean, there's this cool little kind of smoky characteristic. There is that kind of caramel, kind of creme brulee kind of characteristic to it too. So it's like a charred kind of brown sugar. A little bit of kind of like really hard to pick out nondescript kind of wood characteristic because it's so sweet. It's kind of hard to get past that. It's got a really nice mouthfeel to it. It's not thick. It's not thin. It's appropriate with what a barley wine should be, at least for its age. It has I can't express enough how much mouthfeel I think comes into play, especially with barley wines. I mean, it's very important across all styles of beer, but barley wine, a lot of people produce these kind of thinner barley wines, and you don't want it super thick either. It really needs to land in a really nice place, and this one lands in that place. It's really just not much to dig at beyond the sweetness because of how big it is. This is a weird beer because this is going to be really good beer in like 5 years. Like, honestly. I mean, it's probably going to be really good beer in a year. In a year, it'll probably drink quite nice. But I'm thinking in 5 to 10 years, this might be like insane good beer. It's just way too sweet for me. A little bit too green for a barley wine. That's what it is, though. That's how you do barley wine. There's no way to fake that age. Sure, barrel aging can fake that, but what you're faking is time. And you're not really faking time because, sure, the barrel kind of accelerates that. They're doing wood here, but they might not be doing barrel aging. They're doing wood here, but let's say they have it on staves for 10 months. Keep to that number, even though I think I'm just making that shit up. Then they're already aging it for 10 months. So it is seeing age already. So the wood does accelerate it, but you're also aging it in the wood, so that's aging in and of itself. So barley wine just needs time. You know, one of my favorite beers of all time is Thomas Hardy Ale. Love it. Can't get enough of it. G.W. Lee's Harvest Ale. Old Stock from North Coast. Love those beers. They're 3 of my favorite beers of all time. But I never say this. They're 3 of my favorite beers of all time with age on them. I just assume people know that. Maybe I shouldn't assume. Makes an ass out of you and me. But yeah, I mean, fresh Thomas Hardy. People will be like, I had Thomas Hardy and it wasn't that great. And I'm like, motherfucker, I always mention time. Like, I never say you have to age it, but I always mention it. That's where this beer kind of lies. I can just taste the absolute bonkers deliciousness in this beer. But for me, this is one... Let's put it this way. This is the mantra when it comes to aging beer. Buy a 4-pack of this. Actually, in a perfect world, buy a half case of this or a full case of this beer. Drink one now. I'm really glad I got to drink this beer because let's say I get another one. Same batch, same year. That one's going to sit in my cooler, going to sit in my basement, going to sit in my cellar. I'll see you in a couple years. And why that is a great thing is because you always have to have a base reference to work off of. So, you know, let's say I had this beer and it already had 5 years on it and it was absolutely amazing. Well, amazing is awesome. You still don't have a basis, a kind of core point, the kind of base, how this beer has grown, how this beer has changed over time. So while this beer, if I had a 4-pack of it, I probably wouldn't open it for quite some time. Maybe open another one to share with friends just so they can experience the same thing. It's not a beer that you shouldn't buy. It's a beer you should buy, but you just shouldn't drink it, and you should just let it sit. Put it in a nice environment. It's a can. Cans are much better nowadays than they were back in the day, so it'll hold up decently. So yeah, I wouldn't be beyond waxing a can. I know it sounds super dumb, but waxing beer, it does serve its purpose. But you know, sometimes these kind of seams on here can be a little bit dodgy. Don't hate on electrical tape either. Just wrap some really nice electrical tape around that sucker, give it a decent seal, let it sit in the basement, and crack it. You know, crack one in 2 years, crack one in 1, 2, 5, 10. And I think you'd be on for a really good journey. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better barley wines I've had as of late. In its current state, it's worthy of conversation because of, one, it's still a tasty beer, even though it's really, really sweet. But also, I can just taste how good it's going to be, so that in of itself makes me really like the beer. Value availability, no idea. If somebody wants to chime in and let us know what's what. This comes courtesy of the guys from West Vale Liquors, by the way. I didn't even mention that. They didn't like send me beer and be like, "Hey, can you promote us?" And there's dudes that watch the channel that happen to work at a liquor store, so I figured I'd mention them. Yeah, and hopefully you guys, if you like barley wine, if you like new barley wine, if you like aging beer, this is going to be something you dig. So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. You want to check me out doing the whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully I'm enjoying a little bit of barley wine right now. And hopefully see you next time. Cheers.